you see this? It's
something that'll change the world and human life as we know it.
He knows. He's seen the light.
When Monty talks, it's painful.
Monty, you have been so instrumental in kind of pointing me in the right direction.
It was about looking at your character defects in spirituality.
It's the integration of clinical practices with the 12 steps.
It's an absolute pleasure. He certainly knows a lot of people. He's got a lot of energy, and sometimes when you don't have so much energy, he picks you up and carries you.
Having the Monty Man there certainly helps.
This is one of the places that is about the business of the solution.
The views expressed on this special broadcast of the Take 12 radio show do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting or its affiliates. KHLT is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
Now here's that guy who's getting less popular minute by minute, your host, the Multi-Man.
Well, greetings, recovery family. How the heck are you today? Welcome to Interview Thursday here at Take12Radio.com on your internet dial. Getting less popular minute by minute. I think that's okay. I had a guy when I first got into radio, a guy named Mike, tell me, he says, now, Monty Man, he said, don't get too popular. You might be in trouble. And I thought, you know what? He may be right about that. So I kind of, it's okay to get less and less popular. Well, welcome to the show, my friends. Our email address is take12radio@comcast.net. And if you are visiting us on your smartphone or tablet or on Intune Radio or on the Bill Post Radio Network and not on our network, our website is take12radio.com. You can go there by typing in Take 12, the number, or typing in the word take12radio.com. Either way, it'll take you to the same place. All right. Well, check this out, my friends. I am going to do it again. I am going to bring up the Recovery Cartoon Caption Contest yet another time. And you're going to hear me harp on this a lot because I want you to get involved. Because how many things are for fun and for free? This is for fun, it's for free, and you could win recovery goodies. Go to take12radio.com, click on Recovery Cartoons. There's a cartoon there with no caption. We want you to make up a caption. Doesn't have to be funny. It can be serious. It can be sad. It can be angry. It can be mad. Whatever. Keep it family friendly. And type in what you think the caption could be. Include your email address and click submit. And once a month, we give out a prize for that. And it doesn't cost you a thing. So check it out. It says right on that page what the prize is. I'm not going to take the time to tell you right now. Check it out for yourself. So go to take12radio.com, click on Recovery Cartoons for fun and for free. All right. Well, today on the show, my guest is a young lady who I admire so much. She's overcome some obstacles that many of us would have probably just thrown in the towel by now. Her name is Tracey G. And Tracey is originally from Nebraska. She's lived in Oregon for many, many years. And more recently has been living in the Boise area, Boise, Idaho. And now is moving back. And we found out that she was going to be in the area in the process of moving to Toledo, which is not too far between Albany and the coast. And we said, we need to take this opportunity to get Tracey to come here on the show. Tracey, welcome to Take 12 Radio.
Thank you, Monty.
Tracey, let's just tackle this issue right from the get-go, okay? You've overcome some tremendous obstacles. You live with some tremendous obstacles that many people simply, if their life were to change today, boom, bam, just like that, and be in the position you are in, physically, emotionally, etc., they may not fare too well. They may find themselves in deep weeds, and yet, for whatever reason, your Creator trusts you with this. Tell the listeners what it is you live with every day.
I was born with a slight case of cerebral palsy. It affects my speech and my motor skills. it affects how people see me. It affected how I see myself for many years. It's a part of who I am, and I've always had it. So it's to me, it's like breathing. It's there.
It's just who you are.
Yeah, it's who I am.
Was this a cause for major struggle as a youth?
When my mom went into labor, the doctor was not present, and I started heading out, and they closed her legs and kept me from arriving into the world as I should have, and it cut the oxygen off to the cerebral cortex of my brain, and here I am.
Why would they do that?
Well, it was that my mama was 15, and it was in 1959.
Oh, okay.
And and she was young, and
why? Who knows why people do the things they do?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't know that they would do this to me.
Right.
I mean, nowadays they just let babies come. They don't even need a doctor.
Sure.
You
bet. So okay, did people, did they ridicule you in school?
Oh, Monty.
I can imagine.
Well, and because they thought at one time that I was like mildly retarded. That was kind of on the table. And when they found out that I wasn't, I went to public school.
Okay, what they do? They do intelligent testing and so forth. They found out that what was going on the inside was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, and I'm not bragging, but maybe even above intelligence.
Yeah, sure.
Compared to other kids that don't have what I have.
Right. It's amazing. And kids can be cruel.
Oh, baby.
Yeah,
they can.
Yeah.
Kids, well, even tonight to this day, kids can be extremely. But in all fairness, children are fearful of what they don't know or what they don't understand. And I know that now as an adult. Now with children, if I tell them, and I keep it real simple, I just tell them that I came out differently from my mama than they did.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like I am.
Wow.
And then, then I play with them. I love kids.
Yeah.
Because they do, once I get an answer, then they're like, well, you're okay. We like you.
And then they're actually more mature than adults. Adults could be, right?
Monty, I was in, I need to tell this story. I was in the store, it was in Myrtle Point, Oregon. Mm-hmm. And my daughter was like maybe 2. And I was getting after her for something or another. She was 2.
Uh-huh.
And I heard someone in the next aisle say, people like that should not even have children.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, check it out. My daughter is a author and a actress, and so, people like me should have children.
You bet.
I'm just saying. Saying.
Well, people that make those kind of statements need to have their head examined. Is those people that make statements like that? Because that's just ignorant.
It's a judgment call. That's on her, not me.
But man, that's gotta hurt though.
Oh, it did. And there was years of that, and You know, I gotta say though, it made me one tough mama. You know.
You bet.
In fact, I got to the point where I could almost beat him to the punch. You know.
Good for you.
Go ahead. You know. You think I'm retarded? Come on, let's roll.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have used my humor, I would have crumbled years ago.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. Okay, you are a person that is an active member of a 12-step fellowship.
I am.
You've been on the speaker circuit before. There have been people that you have got their ear. They sit and they listen to you, and they want to know what Tracey has to say. But this hasn't come easy. I mean, there are reasons, genetically sometimes we develop it through abuse, but there are other emotional reasons why a person uses and drinks many times. Was one of those perhaps when you were in the middle of your active alcoholism, was some of that because you didn't feel good about Tracey?
Well, yeah. You know, I was the odd child out from the get-go.
Odd child out, yeah.
Okay. So, the first time I drank at 12, and the magic, and this can get kind of controversy because alcohol does help. There's the cerebral palsy, my hands quivering. In fact, I've had people even tell me that I speak better. But here's the tricky part. 1 or 2 glasses of beer, well, I don't know when or where, but I could not stop at 1 or 2.
Right. And that's what made the difference between you and somebody who was maybe just a heavy drinker.
Right. Yeah, I took everything that I've ever done, I take to the
extreme.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm guilty as sin.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So something, a substance that might have actually been a benefit to you, unfortunately you weren't able to cash in on that because you just are one of these people that just is powerless over it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in that I have recently found out that there is people with severe cerebral palsy and they have a pump surgically implanted and they use alcohol in that pump.
Oh, the alcohol comes through the pump right into their bloodstream?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, sign me up.
Yeah.
You know, and right? There's that addict. There's that.
Yeah, you bet.
You know, I want a piece of this.
Right.
But I can't.
The guy that was the best man on my wedding, we were up visiting them in Portland the other day, and he had fallen and he'd gotten himself into an accident, and he was having to take pain medication. He had several stitches in his face, and he's not an addict or an alcoholic, and it's almost instinctual. You know, I said, "So, you got any more of those?" And I'm just joking around, and he goes, "Yeah, you want one?" And I go, "Yes, please."
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes.
And he said, I don't think so. You know, so even in our joking, we got to fall back into some of that. But okay, so you got into a program of recovery. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want you to share with the listeners how that happened.
Okay.
How you walked through the doors. What took place to get you to do that?
Okay.
Folks, don't go away. More with my guest, Tracey G, when we come back.
He's a little crazy, but then again, you already knew that.
I got in like 3 fights when I was in grade school. All 3 of them were with the bully. You know, we all know who they are. They're always a little bit bigger, they kind of smelly, and we duke it out. And after he beat the snot out of me, I'd say, "You come back tomorrow and I'll give you more of that."
It's the Bill Post Radio Show. Bill Post Radio Show. Weekdays at noon.
Last year, I went with my dad on a business trip to the other side of the country. I'll never forget the look of hopelessness in his eyes when he realized there were no 12-step meetings in the area. You see, my dad was an alcoholic, and he really needed a drink that day. With today's technology, I can't help but think that there must have been a way for people like my dad to get help when they can't find a meeting.
Well, now there is. Introducing Sober Chat, the first location-sensitive mobile chat application designed to instantly connect people with the common goal to stay sober. For only 99 cents a year, you can download Sober Chat to your smart device or phone, or better yet, give it as the gift of life to someone you love. Visit SoberChatApp.com and register today.
Maybe if my dad could have spoken with another alcoholic that night, it wouldn't be just me and my mom now.
Men, women, and their families experience tremendous pain and suffering due to the struggles they face from substance abuse and its co-occurring mental health challenges. They need to find a safe place for peace and healing. Therapia Addiction Healing Center was born out of a deep desire to provide that safe and powerful healing environment. Therapia exists to help people recover from addictions by developing and maintaining healthy, meaningful relationships with God, self, and others. To speak with an addiction specialist, call 1-855-652-4325. That's 1-855-652-4325. Or visit our website at www.therapia.net. Therapia Addiction Healing Center, restoring lives one step at a time.
All right, welcome back. And by the way, on tomorrow's show here at Take12Radio.com, you will have the pleasure of listening to the music of recovery recording artist Joe Fuller, a.k.a. Joe Fingers, or Fingers, I should say. This guy has been playing jazz and Dixieland kind of piano stuff, and there's no CDs, there's no pre-programmed recordings into his piano. It's just him and the piano. He is an amazing artist, and so we're going to be hearing his story and listening to some of his music on tomorrow's show, Joe Fingers. So don't miss out on that. Well, on today's show is Tracey G, and Tracey lives with cerebral palsy, and this has been a challenge for her, and I admire her so much. Something happened in your journey where substances became something that you were using to medicate, true?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah. Approximately about the age of 22, I had my firstborn, my son. About the age of 22, I was drinking, I was gotten into a little crank.
There's a term we don't hear much anymore.
Yeah.
Crank.
Yeah. And I always liked that, the speed of things. But I gotten into crank and a little bit of cocaine, not full-fledged, but a little. Anyway, I got to the point where I wanted to drink more than I wanted to be a mother. And I gave my first son, my first child, up for adoption.
Yeah.
And
bless your heart.
And after about a year of really heavy drinking, and I had already been through two different treatment centers by the age of 22.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went through South Recovery in Myrtle Point, Oregon, and then I went to Raleigh Hills.
Okay.
In Portland, Oregon. That was a trip, That's where they feed the alcohol and then
Make you get sick? And
Yeah. That was a fun one.
That was old school.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
the aversion therapy.
I remember the Schick centers used to do that.
Yeah.
Put rubber bands on your wrist. If you feel like smoking, snap your wrist.
Yeah.
Punish yourself.
Yep.
Tracy, you're bad. You're bad. You're a bad person.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, like that's really gonna work. I felt bad when I came in here.
Yeah, you were already broken,
already
right?
bad. Yeah. So anyway, after everything was said and done, I gave my child up, and there was a few other sore things that I had gotten into by this time, and I put myself out to treatment, and I was 23, April 10th of 1983. And I was sober about 3 months, and I discovered I was pregnant. And I thought, oh boy. And
sober 3 months, and you find out you're pregnant.
Yep.
Only after 3 months of sobriety.
Correct.
That's heavy.
And that baby is my daughter, the one that I mentioned.
The one that's very accomplished today? Yeah.
Yes, the one that I mentioned earlier. And pretty much that baby became, the story that my daughter knows, I prayed for a puppy. About 3 months sober, I prayed for a puppy, and I ended up being a mommy. Yeah. So
usually what they tell you, Tracy, is buy a plant, if you keep it alive.
I know. I was told that. Yeah, and if you can keep it alive, you might be ready to be a parent.
Yeah, then get a puppy, and then get it. Yeah.
So anyway, that little burger, I was pretty sure that I wanted to be sober, but having her with me for 9 months, it kind of God's grace, because I come from an alcoholic home, and I didn't want to, and I was kind of clear in my head, and I didn't want to do to her what was done to me. And so that's what I did. That was my next journey. I became a full-time mother, almost to a fault, And she has her story, I almost went overboard. She kind of got the guilt stuff because I gave my son up, But I managed to raise her well,
Yeah.
So
what was it like when you walked into the doors of your first 12-step fellowship?
Were
you scared?
Yeah, I was, and but there was a sense of, okay, now I understand me. Now I get it. And it was almost like it didn't matter if I had CP or not. I thought and I thunk or think like these people did. And they didn't seem to care that I had CP. They were like, yeah, I do that too, and I ain't got CP. I felt odd, and I don't, but when I drink, I feel better. And when I drink, Monty, I did not know that people that didn't have disability felt awkward. And they do.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just made a very powerful statement. You thought people that didn't have disabilities didn't feel awkward.
Yeah.
And they do.
I thought everybody around me, was they okay except me?
Yeah.
And, and then when I was younger, I was the only kid in school that had a disability at that time. Now we have our own parking lots.
Filled with people with a disability.
Yeah. So, it's kind of more acceptable
Sure.
Than it was when I growing up.
Yeah. So now you found yourself in a room full of people that are uncomfortable in their own skin, just like you were.
Yep.
Maybe for some different reasons.
Yep.
But the bottom line is the same.
Right.
You're hurting.
Insecure and or egotistical, and it was like, well, heck, man, these are my kind of people.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
That is great. That's a great story. And what I find is interesting when I heard you talk at a meeting several months ago, I was watching people because I that's part of my job,
right?
And I was watching people, and they were listening to you very intently. Some because they may have had a difficult time understanding you because maybe they've never heard anybody who has CP, or what you were saying was really to the point. But for whatever reason, they were listening very closely, much like people do when people have an accent, when people from Europe are over here, or, they get our attention. And here's something that maybe the enemy of your soul meant for bad, God is using for good.
And that's exactly how I think about it, because, when I had my deepest conversation with my creator,
right?
It kind of cracks me up because I believe that he's speaking to me, and it's like, okay, well, God's got CP now,
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is. And plus, I'm a writer, and it's real. It can be real difficult on my keyboard. But I'm a heck of a writer.
Do you have anything published?
Not yet.
Working on it?
I'm in the process. I have accepted a deal to write a book about the sexual abuse in my family.
Mm-hmm. Of the sexual abuse?
So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to know when you get that published. I want to help promote it here on the station, okay?
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So were you abused too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
Tracey. Gosh.
I know, right? I know.
But look at you now. You're shining.
Well, and you and I both know where that comes from.
Yeah.
What people see in me is my creator, that nothing more, nothing less.
And that's what we want,
and
right?
I'm fully aware of that. Yeah, everything, and I have so much faith in this. Everything that I've had to go through has brought me to where I am today. And my creator trusted me with the sexual abuse. He trusted me with having disability. He trusted me with having an alcoholic mother. He trusted me with giving my own child up, And it sounds almost too Pollyannish, but to me it's very real.
You bet. It's very real.
Not everybody gets to do what I do.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of that.
It's amazing.
I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
Too.
I can tell.
Well, me too.
We're gonna take our last break here. When we come back, we're gonna be talking more about Tracey's journey. Let's talk a little bit when we come back. Let's talk about what some of your hopes and dreams are.
Oh, nice.
From here, besides getting your work published, of course. Some of the things that you'd like to do and like to see accomplished in your life, because you got a lot of years left.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, don't go away. More with Tracey G when we come back. We'll be right back.
Hey, did you hear the one about the bear named Ben in the bar in Boise and his friend Barney who bent over backwards trying to help Ben avoid another bender? Well, the good news is both Ben the bear and his friend Barney now watch the new recovery television show, Time to Heal with No, not Betsy, but with Pam. That's right. It's time to heal with Pam, breaking the chains of addiction. To find out how you can tune into this beneficial broadcast, visit Take12radio.com and click on the Recovery TV link. That's Take12radio.com and click on the Recovery TV link to find out how you can view Time to Heal with Pam. And pat Ben the Bear and his friend Barney on the back, would you?
As men and women who have recovered from utterly hopeless states of addiction ourselves, we know all too well what it's like to battle addiction daily. We are Origins Recovery Centers. Here at Origins, we have taken that which we have learned along the way, excised anything unhelpful and unnecessary, infused it with the latest medical research and innovative therapeutic methods, and created what we know to be the absolute gold standard in substance abuse treatment. And Origins provides the most preeminent aftercare and relapse prevention program available in the United States. For a free confidential clinical assessment, call toll-free 888-843-8935. That's 888-843-8935. Origins, delivering real solutions for real families.
Sober Chat is the first ever location-sensitive mobile chat application designed to instantly connect people who share the common goal of staying sober. Sober Chat will revitalize and revolutionize 12-stepping as we know it. At any time of the day or night, you can simply log on and help someone by making phone contact, taking someone to a meeting for coffee, or chatting via text messaging on the Sober Chat mobile application. Register now for your download of the Sober Chat app. Visit SoberChatApp.com. The power of sharing is at your fingertips. Sober Chat, the app that saves lives. Sober Chat is not a replacement for attending 12-step meetings, sponsorship, or working the 12 steps.
Serenity Springs Recovery Center, located on the beautiful east coast of Florida. A unique facility that is committed to providing exceptional individual care in small group settings while utilizing their experienced and dedicated clinical and support staff of licensed therapists and doctors. Visit their website, SerenitySpringsRecovery.com, or call 386-423-4540. Serenity Springs, making a life-changing investment into your recovery.
I've seen a power greater than myself.
It is only by the power greater than ourselves that we are restored to sanity. And by the same token, it is only by that power that KHLT Recovery Broadcasting and the Take 12 Recovery radio shows are able to broadcast every day. We'd like to give special thanks and honor to our higher power for allowing us to serve you.
Drowning souls, giving fresh breath.
All right, well, welcome back, my friends. It's good to have you with us here at Take12radio.com on your internet dial, broadcasting to you from the studios of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting on the outskirts of beautiful downtown Albany, Oregon. Now, somebody emailed me the other day and said, KHLT, why KHLT? Well, first of all, on the East Coast, most radio stations will start with a W. That's the call letters. On the West Coast, they start with a K. There's more to that. That's just a real simplistic way of putting it. But the KHLT is short for Hungry, Angry, Lonely, Tired. So it's actually HALT, but you can only have 4 letters. So there that is there. So that ends the confusion about that. Tracey G is my guest from Nebraska, but lived in Oregon for many, many, many years, and was up in the Boise, Idaho area. Now she is back. She is moving as we speak almost. Her truck is actually parked outside of the studio with all of her belongings in the back. You look like the Beverly Hillbillies pulling up, you know. You got it's like you got the rocking chair and everything else. Moving to Toledo, Oregon, not really too far from here. So what's in the cards for Tracey now? I mean, what are some of your aspirations, some of the things you want to do?
Well, after getting settled into my new home with my mom, which is miraculous, and my mother, who I believe had a drinking problem herself. I'm going to be helping her. Not to get sober, but I'm going to be. She's going to be 71 this coming year.
Wow!
In November, and you know, there's been a lot of healing there, and I'm able to take care of my mom. You know, and I gotta say, all the things that I went through with my mom, I do know that she very much loved me.
Sure.
She very, you know, so.
She did the best she could at the time?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's exciting, and my addiction kept me from being a mom in many ways. And then my recovery from my addiction has kept me up in Boise, because I went back through treatment in Boise, and then I stayed there. And on that place in sobriety where, by golly, there's a book that I read quite regularly, and it tells me that I participate in the lives of my family. That's what the 12 steps that I work are designed for. And I'm really going to miss my people in Boise. They have become very so dear to me.
Yeah.
But, you know, my family is here. And that son that I gave up for adoption is very much a part of my life.
Is he here too?
He's in Celeste.
Wow.
I talked to him regularly. He had become a mommy's boy.
So you guys are okay?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
What a gift.
Yeah, I know. You know, yeah. And not only that, I had 3 grandchildren from him. A step-grandson, and Monty, I had 2 of them, of beautiful granddaughters. One could ever have.
Yeah.
And they call me Grandma.
So what may have appeared through human eyes as being tragic may have very well been all planned out from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, there's a number of people that say what we lose in our addiction, we get back threefold. I'm a living testament of that. I got back almost everything that I lost, and then some.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Tracey, what do you think is and I've been asking people this recently, what do you think is the biggest obstacle in today's recovery fellowships that is keeping people from actually doing the work and not just going to meetings?
You know, my first thought was being fearful of being who we are.
Being afraid of who we are?
Yeah. I know it was for me.
Looking at yourself?
Yeah. There's so much that I got to know about myself, and sure, I put the bottle down and the pills, but the basis of who I am is still there. You know, I have my quirks, I have my assets, my liabilities, and I am who I am today. And I think, Monty, for me, it's probably more important that I found that I am who I am, but I'm also not who I'm not.
Right.
And that's huge, because of my addiction, the cerebral palsy, you know, the sexual abuse, I have worn so many different hats that I did not know who I was. You know, and I think when I stripped things away and I found out who I wasn't, that's when I found out who I am.
When you found out who you weren't, you found out who you were.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's really a great definition of true humility is an honest self-assessment.
Yeah.
Because we tend to think that we are supposed to find out all of the things that are wrong with us.
Right.
But a true self-assessment discovers the things that are right, too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, and I must say, in my other sobriety, I got well. I mean, I got so well that I got sicker. I mean, I become Miss 12-step herself, and I did this, and I did that, and I got drunk.
Yep.
So in this sobriety, I'm still crazy as I ever was, but I'm not drinking.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense. And there's no show, there's no pretense, and as I change, that I don't change. My creator
changes you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just kind of sit up and show up at certain times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, so if you had it in your power, now we know, you and I know, and a lot of the people that are listening know, that we believe very strongly that we are powerless over other people's decisions. They make their own decisions. We can influence them. We can suggest. We can even hinder. But bottom line, when the rubber meets the road, they make their own choices.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had it within your power to change, to make a major change in today's 12-step fellowships, what would it be?
Me and Monty, I don't know how to. I do not know how to answer that because and honestly, my first thought was who am I to do that?
I think that was the answer I was looking for.
Okay. Yeah. I would be afraid to do that because I'm not God.
Right. So, having said that, the answer may be nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
If something needs to be changed, and I think there are some things that we could get back to that we've gotten away from.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah.
God's going to have to be the one that does that, right?
Yeah, and I think that He knows the way He's doing.
Because we just mess it all up when we just try to do it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the greatest things that I got from this sobriety this time is when I'm only taking care of me and being responsible for me.
Right.
And when I know I'm walking how I believe His will, but when I start trying to get my kids to act, or or my grandkids, and even my mom, I'm being real careful. Even with my mom, this is your deal, and this.
Is she active in her addiction, or is she?
She drinks.
Okay. Yeah. So that is challenging for you.
Yeah.
Because you want the best for her, right?
Well, it's interesting because I don't know what's best for her.
Yeah, you may want it, but you may not know what that is.
I don't know. I know what's best for me, but I don't get to decide that for anybody but me. And that's the tricky part. I finally realized that. There's a part in the book that I read pretty much most of the time, and it says, most of my troubles are of my own making.
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. And when I got that, when I read that, and I went, whoa, I had not been the same. And that book had been in my life since 1983, and I never heard that. I never read it. I never got it.
Yeah.
And this time, when I read that, I was at a 12-step meeting, Sunday 12-step meeting, when I read that, and I went, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we all read things over and over and over again, and then one day a piece of it hits us like a 2x4.
Yep.
It's been hitting us the whole time,
Yep.
but we actually are ready to receive it. And one of the things that have really come clear to me, I knew it, but I knew it in my head, but I didn't know it in my heart, was that we need to make sure that regardless of how irritated we get at people in recovery, how impatient we are, we see them making the same mistakes over and over again, we throw up our hands, they're not serious, blah, 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 blah. We can get all worked up over all of that. But if I'm not making sure that I keep myself in a position where I am always going to be helpful, then I am the biggest violator.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because someday they're going to get it, and if they come to you and say, "Oh yeah, but you gave up on me," they may not have anybody else to go to.
Right.
But if they come and say, "You know what? Even though I was absolutely out of my mind, you didn't give up on me."
Yep.
Yeah.
My sponsor told me, it taught me, do not keep score.
Not our job.
My primary purpose is to help others. And that doesn't necessarily mean someone that has a drinking problem. My sponsor told me sometimes being helpful is a matter of putting your cart up at Walmart.
Wow.
Yeah. It can be that simple. And I try my best to keep it that easy.
Right.
And I just want to say, I think the biggest thing that I learned when I read that thing about most of my troubles have been in my own making,
mm-hmm.
I somehow realized I know how to get out of my own way,
mm-hmm.
because I know the mental twist that I have. I know me well. I know the strange, peculiar mental twist that I have, and I catch it. It's like, okay, yeah, right, yeah, you really gonna try this again? Come on now.
Right, right.
Yeah,
that's
get
great.
real.
Yeah, give me a break now.
Yeah, seriously, okay. And it's almost like I get to use it for entertainment purposes only. No.
Yeah.
It's a trip. It's a trip.
One of the things you had mentioned knowing God's will, and I hear people say all the time, it's impossible to know God's will. I don't think it is. I think God's will for us is that whatever we do in word or deed, we point to Him, not to us. That's ultimately it. But I know that God is love, and so people say, well, what is love? Well, I got to read this because you said something that it is. You said, don't keep score, right?
Yeah.
Well, this comes out of the good book. It's most affectionately known as the love chapter. It says love. Okay, so if you want to know what love is, here it is. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. And here it is right here. It keeps no record of wrongs.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't keep score.
Nice. Yeah. I love that, and I use it. Because, I am human, obviously.
Sure.
And every now and then, I'll be doing this, and I'll be doing that. It's like, come on, nigga, pitch in. And I'll remember that. Don't keep score. And she also taught me, Tracey, you're really not doing this for them. You're doing this for God. And it puts it in a whole nother light.
And that makes so much more sense than, because I had a sponsor years ago, And I believed him. And that's how you got it. Sometimes things can be dangerous. This guy told me, you're doing this, you're not doing it for them, you're doing it for you. And then somebody told me years later, they go, if that's your motivation, you're going to be in trouble.
Yep.
Like the amends process. You're not making an amends for them, you're making it for you so you can feel better. Really? No, you're making it for them because they deserve it. But you're doing this ultimately for God.
Yeah.
And we get to receive stuff as a result of that, but that shouldn't be our motivation, is to benefit ourselves. Right? Yeah.
This book that I read quite regularly is that he's the director and I am his new employee. So what do we, if you have a job and you have a boss, don't we all try to please our boss?
You bet.
So essentially, that's all I'm doing. That's how I do it in my mind.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, God. And I used to think, did you see me do that? And now it's like, no, I don't even get to do that today.
Right. Do you think it's human, though? I mean, it's just a human trait that when we do something for somebody and they don't acknowledge it, it kind of stings a little bit, doesn't it? I think we shouldn't beat ourselves up over that too much, but we can't stay there, right?
Well, right, and it's getting to the point where, and there's a number of things that I do behind the scenes. And I do it purposely because my sponsor told me, check your motive. I mean, I'm a doper and a con artist and a horse thief. I've got a motive for waking up in the morning.
It's built into us, right? Yeah.
Right. And I most of the time, Monty, I can honestly and say in front of my career, I had no motive except to be helpful.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
I'm just doing what I think that my career would want me to do.
It's interesting because in the fourth step in the big book of AA, it talks about people that offend us. I love this because so my question is to the universe is, all right, well, so-and-so pissed me off and hurt my feelings. What do I do about it? And so instead of the answer I want, this is the answer I get. Well, when somebody offends you, you remember that they, just like you, are perhaps spiritually sick.
Yeah.
And then there's a directive. It says, you ask God, how can you be helpful? Well, that's not the answer I was looking for, Tracy.
Right.
I wanted to know how I could punch their lights out, not how I could be helpful.
Yeah. Well, here's a little tricky thing that I do.
Yeah.
Don't take anything personal. And when people offend you, it's more about them than you.
Yeah.
Don't.
Easier said than done, though, right?
Right. Yeah, it is. But if I've almost retrained my brain. People in general can be insensitive.
Yeah.
So especially if they're into self.
It's not really about you. Yeah.
Right. And they're so into self that they're not aware of what you may be going through, or that their yelling hurt your ears, because they're only thinking of themselves.
Yeah.
And I know full well how it takes a lot of God stuff to think of others and to get the heck out of self. And that's what to really get out of self, I had to think more about you than I do me.
Yeah.
But I win.
Yeah. You bet. You bet.
I mean, so there is a motive, but the motive has changed.
Yeah, it's such a gift, It's so marvelous to see someone like who've gone through what you've gone through. But if people don't go through these things, then who's going to be there as an example for the people coming up in life that are going to go through things?
Right.
we have to experience sometimes some horrific stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We take off our major people in the Bible, or Saint Francis of Assisi, our saints, our greatest writers. I mean, they couldn't write that stuff. They hadn't been in the pits of hell.
Yeah, because you can't make this stuff up, can you,
no.
Tracey?
Yeah, there's no way, man. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know, it's like, what's that called? You know, the School of Hard Knocks.
You bet.
You know, I've been in classroom my whole life.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And now I think I got a good better way to keep it.
You do. Yeah, we do. So when people tell me to shut up, I go, I can't, because I want to keep it, so I got to talk about it.
Right.
You don't have to receive it, but I'm going to talk about it.
And that's real tricky too. I had people in Coos Bay, the old timers, they tell me there's a reason why you had 2 ears and only one mouth. Okay.
Yeah, and then I would turn around and say to them, yeah, you too.
I know, right?
Tracey, we're out of time. Thank you so much. This has been fun.
Thank you, Monday. Yeah.
You got a wonderful testimony, a wonderful story, and you're doing the deal. You're giving it away, and I'm so grateful. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
When you come back again, you're going to be living pretty close. So.
Really? Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Nice.
All right. Well, my friends, Tracey G has been my guest today. What a blessing. And so we wish her all the best in her new ventures in Toledo, Oregon, with her mom. Keep her in your prayers. Whenever you move in with anyone else besides yourself, I mean, it's bad enough being with ourselves, right? There's always challenges, but there's always opportunities too. And we just know that things are going to be good. All right, our email address is take12radio@comcast.net. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man along with Tracey G, and we're wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Kitty, 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 kitty.